All opinions are those of the participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observation, and entertainment. I ask that you comment, like, share, and subscribe. All opinions are those of the participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observations, and entertainment. I ask that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Good evening. This is DFG, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. I'm coming to you live from the 571 where I'm having fun and I'm getting things done. Today's show, we're going to talk about parents who think their kids are a come up or retirement plan. And before I start, I want to talk to my lovely co-host, my sister from the same Mr. Chocolate Pearl. What's going on, my girl Chocolate Pearl?
Hey, y'all, this is Chocolate Pearl. Ready to get this topic started. Calling you from phone and making it happen, Captain.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Tuesday's a wonderful day. We have most of our usual crew today. We have the lovely Miss Kim, and we have DJ Dabs, Seattle's finest, the Emerald City's best. And we have Miss Summer on, our resident thespian. And tonight's topic is going to be, like I said, parents thinking their kids are a come up. Now, there's in a lot of cultures, when a person gets too old to work, usually their child will take care of them. But since in the US, that's been turned on its head, where the parent expects the child to take care of them, a child or one child, and they think their child owes them something. I gave you life. I raised you. Now it's your turn to take care of me. I don't want to do nothing. Uh, and it's either way, it's going to be one way. But when you look at it from that perspective, it's kind of selfish. So, I know with myself and Chocolate Pearl, we both when my mother was alive, when our mother was alive, we both had her for a while. And let's just say we wanted to take her in, but she was she was three hands full. She was three hands full.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And she would talk to folks. And she would treat Chocolate Pearl in any old kind of way. And Chocolate Pearl would call me, and when my mother passed in actually 5 days from now makes 16 years. And I told Chocolate Pearl because I know her temper. She's good now, but she wasn't always good. And I said, I expected her to only last 6 months with you. Said you did 6, 7 years. I'm like, hey, I had to give her props because she only lasted a year with me in Texas. And but like I said, you love your mother. She gave us birth, but whew, she was high maintenance. Because I used to drive 8 hours every weekend from Virginia to South Carolina every weekend for like 2 years to make sure that she saw my face. And the first thing I had to do was make sure she ate what she was supposed to eat, because if she didn't, she would call me from dialysis crying and getting mad at the doctors, and I have to tell her, stop it, stop it. No, 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 we don't do that here. You shouldn't have ate that. And if y'all were here last week, y'all remember how we told y'all when something happened to us, she would say, you shouldn't have done it. She hated when we threw that back at her.
Exactly.
She hated when we threw that back at her. So, I
The
purposed it.
biggest thing that she did was she used to tell on me. And like if I disregarded anything that she did or what she was supposed to do, or if she ate something that she wasn't supposed to, or she persuaded a couple of the techs at the nursing home to go and buy her something that she wasn't supposed to eat, she would get mad at me, and then she'll call and tell. And the people that she would call and tell, they'll call me back and tell me and what she said, and then but they didn't listen to her most of the time, or they chastised her and said, you know, you're wrong and all this. So they stopped calling her. So she'll find somebody that was sympathetic to her needs. And sometimes she found them until till they caught on, and then she'll find somebody that would be sympathetic to her. So yeah, she was a huge, huge, huge brat. I will say that. She was a brat. Everything had to go her way. She had to have everything. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. I was shocked that she stayed with me that as long as well.
You know, I know. You know, I know. Miss Summer, what's going on? How are you doing? First of all, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, it's lovely. It's a lovely day here in Woodbridge. I know you out towards Man Ass. Um, do you expect your children to take care of you when you get older? You in Rome.
Mm, uh, that's a hard one. I have to think about that for a little bit, only because where I work, you see a lot of different, let's just say you don't see a lot of the good in the world where I work. And I've seen elderly people get abused because their children don't want anything to do with them. I've seen their funds get depleted. I've seen a lot of things happen with elderly people. Um, for me personally, my mom and dad are taking care of my dad's mom right now, and she is going through dementia, and it is a very difficult process, and they're going through that. But my dad is finding peace in it, knowing that whatever time he has left with his mom, she is being cared for. She's happy. You know, she's not getting abused. Nobody is getting frustrated with her as she, steadily declines. So I'm watching all of that, and I don't know. I'm just hopeful that my kids will step up one day, and just I don't have to live with them or anything like that, but just make sure I'm squared away wherever they decide. If I go into a nursing home or something like that, because it, I think the tables turn. They take care of us as babies, then we are able to manage on our own, and then they turn into babies. So it's like a cycle. So I just hope one day that my kids will step up and just make sure I'm okay. I don't have to be in their lives or anything like that. So,
Okay, okay. My situation. I don't expect my sons to take care of me. I've already acknowledged that. Hopefully they'll be able to take care of them, be able to take care of their mother, but I don't, I probably wind up in an old person's home or something like that. I've always said that. But it's important how it's important that you when you're looking at your mother or father and they come to you and they say, well, you need to take care of me. I made poor decisions my adult life, but now I want you to subsidize those decisions. It gives you it turns you off, especially, and like you said, you've seen people be abandoned, but you don't know the stories behind the children. We want to automatically blame the children for being ungrateful and all that stuff, but you don't know the story behind that. So I look at it like this. I mean, I personally did what I needed to do when I could, but I'm not everybody. But I don't expect my kids to do that. I said, Miss Kim, do you expect your kids to take care of you? Hold on, Miss Summer.
I always, I don't expect it, but I always tease them because I do have two daughters. First 6 months, I'll stay with one. The second 6 months, I'll stay with the other. But I don't actually expect them. But if I need them, they will always be there for their mother
Would
to
it
help,
would it be singing the
still.
friend song? I'll
Huh?
be there for you.
But I always tease them about it, and I tell them as well, like, y'all gonna put me in a nursing home. And Chelsea, my oldest, like, no, mama, you never going in the home. Nina, the baby, she was like, yeah, you going in the home. But I don't think they would put me in their mother in the home because of the things we've all been through. Me and my daughter's been through together. So we have a tight bond, but I don't expect it. But I hope if I need them, they will be readily available for their mother.
So that's interesting though. I mean that's good that your kids already know that. What about you, Miss? Back to you, Miss. I'm sorry.
No, no, I was just going to say that this is very interesting to talk about this. It's almost like the people that have children that shouldn't have had children, they need to really think about their future. And I'm talking about the people that have been abusive to their children or uh, abandon them or, whatever situation that caused a strain. And then for them to come back and say, hey, I need you to take care of me. It just makes you think that, if things happen like that, you better have a backup plan or set yourself up in the future to be taken care of because you just don't know if your kids are going to come back to you. You don't know if they might just say, sayonara, good luck.
Two
So.
tears in a bucket. But that's true though. I mean, how you treat your kids when they grow up may not be the same way, or it could be the same way. But the idea, and here's DFG's take on this. Be a good person. Be a good person. You can't depend on other folks. You got to depend on you. And if you make sure you have a plan, so you're setting something up so that you're taken care of. Miss Dream, looks like you dancing and partying. Um, how do you feel about the subject? Kids on a mothers and fathers, parents thinking their kids is a come up or retirement plan. I guess she went dark. DJ Dabs, DJ Dabs, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Do you do you think your children will take care of you when you turn 64?
Sorry, I just don't know how to turn my phone off, but I can wait for Dabs to be finished.
All right. No, yeah, my kids already know that they don't need to worry about that. And I told them if it comes down to that point, I used to say years ago, I would hope to never make it to 70 years old, but at 60 years old now, I think it's gonna go maybe on beyond. But I told my kids they ain't gotta worry about me. If it gets to that point, you guys figure out what you need to do. If you need to take me out, whatever. But y'all ain't got to do all that.
So you want them to take you out to the backyard and do you like old Yeller?
Yep, find Dr. Kevorkian or something.
Well, he don't live no more, so he preceded you.
Yeah, I know.
Dream. Do you think your kids will take care of you?
Well, I didn't have you there.
I don't know, but I think they should take care of me. Do
And
I
why is
think
that?
because I feel like you should take care of the people that take care of you. And I feel like I'm hopefully setting that example for them so that they'll kind of, reciprocate that. Um, but I don't know. I feel like when you have daughters, you're kind of lucky in a sense that they're nurturers. So I feel like on some level they will
Well, just
probably take
because
care
they're
of me.
female don't means they're automatically nurturing.
I know, but that is true. But I feel like they've seen that example of nurturing. So on some level, I feel like they will be nurturing.
So that's so saying that, are you planning on making your girls like take care of you?
How do you make? I don't know if you can make them take care of you per se. I don't. I don't want to plan on that, but I don't know. I think I plan on being self-sufficient and hopefully being able to take care of myself forever. That is my dream life fantasy where I will not need them to take care of me. But I don't know. I figure at some point life is a circle. So at some point you will be on the end where you will not be able to sustain yourself. So I feel like either way, uh like with everything else, I figure it'll work itself out, but it's not something I plan on, but I think I don't know. And it's hard because I don't know if I really want to be taken care of. Like, it depends. I'm also like fiercely independent, want to do what I want to do and want to take care of myself. So it's a issue. It's interesting.
Okay. Okay. That's an interesting take. Go ahead, Dieter Dabs.
Yeah, I was also going to say that, even though I told my kids that, I was just telling Tawana or Chocolate Pearl, I was just telling her that, my daughter and my oldest son, they'll probably get together and take care of them. My youngest son, he's all about Snacks and Shack is all about Snack and Shack. So I don't know what he's gonna do, but I know my two oldest ones, they're pretty nurturing kids. So my oldest son and my daughter, they probably step in and take care of things. Because actually my daughter is actually my ex-wife is in Virginia. Her mom is here, and my daughter's been taking care of her already. So I know she will step in. She's that nurturing type of person.
Oh, that's wonderful. At least you know. At least you know. So my
Mine ain't gonna do
siblings,
nothing for me.
my siblings and our kids, it's gonna be a crapshoot. Well, Apple's kids will take care of her
Well, no, two will.
too.
The other one will just get money.
And I brought a bunch of nieces and nephews too. They probably step in.
Yeah, I know that, and I have one here with me now, but I went through a similar situation, but not without being um incapacitated. However, none of my kids came to my rescue. No one came. They just said, "Oh, you got your sisters." Yeah, but that's my sisters. You're my children. So yeah, none of them. I went through that cancer situation, and I didn't have them there for the first 3 years. So yes, so no,
Are
I
they
don't
boys
believe
or
me when I get
girls?
older. They're gonna put me in a home and keep me there, and just probably pay the bill if they do that. You know, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. We got coming home from work, and she's never a jerk. The wonderful woman of Binghamton. See Lady Bean. What's going on, Bean? Holla at your boy.
Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, as you see, I'm late getting off of work because we have new times. We can't leave until after 8:30 now. So, yay us. It always take one crab and all to mess up everything, keep us down. But I'm doing okay. This week was a rough week, but
Yes.
I'm here
Yeah.
and I'm glad that I was able to make it. I'm sorry about last week. I wasn't in my right mind, but this week I was present and I'm here.
Well, the
With my
question of
dog.
tonight said the question of tonight being is, should parents use their kids as a retirement plan or use them for the come up?
Only if they had the discussion. I know my kids, they been like, no, you get your own. I'll come and visit you and I'll send a nurse every other week. But that's about it. But I don't believe they should, but we should, but it's not it shouldn't be a requirement
Well,
unless
we
there was
talked
like
about.
something.
I say though, we talked about your mother, right?
Yeah, of course we talked about my mother, and
And
I thought I
how
was
we had to take care of her.
y'all didn't have to, y'all chose to because y'all loved y'all mother and y'all wanted to show us younger siblings that it's okay to be responsible. And that's how I took it. That's how I took it. Cause yeah, just having my grandbabies here this weekend, I was like, oh, I can't do this no more. Oh, I need help. Like, I can't do the babies no more. Like, oh no, that's a lot. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
So I could just imagine a surly elderly person. As you know, I did home health aid for quite a few years. I did it through the whole pandemic. So I kind of understand me having patients that family just did not deal with them, and um that was sad. But then I had patients that family were really into their lives, but I never had anybody boss me around or or anything. I was fortunate in that way. Everybody likes me. I love that about myself.
Yeah.
I love that about myself.
Everybody
Everybody likes me.
loved your mother too until they had to live with her.
Well, hopefully, hopefully, well, I'm not even gonna say hopefully. I told my son, my youngest, once he gets his apartment, he needs to get a 3 bedroom because I got the bedroom set up. I got the day bed and rocking chair and everything set up. And I was like, I just need a key in the room and that's it. And he was like, only getting 2 bedrooms. So I guess you be sharing with your daughter because I get a bedroom, a full bedroom by myself.
Go ahead, Miss Kim.
No, I was just thinking about when my mother was alive and how I was there for her while she was battling cancer. And she didn't want any of us to like miss work or just cater to her. And that meant a lot to me to be able to be there for her to the very last end. So just thinking about whether or not I want my children to be there for me, in my heart, yes, because I know how I was there with my mom. And to be there, even though she was like, she kept saying, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be a burden. I can see myself telling my daughters the same thing.
Oh, we are gonna say that. We are gonna say that,
Yeah.
even if and
Um,
some of us might
but
even mean it.
I was happy to be able to be there. It was kind of like I was giving back to her for caring for me coming up and doing those things for me as I grew up. And I was able to, kind of give back to her very last breath.
Now that's very poignant too. I was saying, and we kind of that's the kind of way we did it because my mother bounced around between us,
Yeah.
and we had it went it wasn't as it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Hmm.
However, it was challenging, and she knew that she knew that we were there for her, even though sometimes we didn't put up with her nonsense. We still loved her enough that we were going to let her know when she wasn't doing right. Yeah, yeah, she's your mother, but she's not. She ain't perfect, and the roles like Miss Summer said, the roles switch, and then you
I,
go from
I'm sorry. Can
caregiver
I
to
say something?
caretaker. Go
I
ahead,
want to
Bean.
apologize to you and Pearl now because I just realized it. Me and Apple ran her out of New York right to your arms because she did not want to deal with us and our shenanigans, and I'm not letting her get away with a lot of the things that she wanted to get away with. So she completely ran away from us to y'all. So I'm a if Apple don't say it, I apologize, but I love y'all still.
No, she got tired of calling me because she would here and don't I don't want our family to take this wrong, but this is how our mother was. If she was with me, she talking about the mother daughters in New York. She talked about that daughter in South Carolina. If she was in South Carolina, she talked about that son in Texas and them daughters in New York. If she was in New York, and so we all had to learn to say, I don't want to hear that. I said, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, I don't want to hear it. Now she'll gossip with her sister, my aunt, but
To the point where she said she didn't want to hear it.
so it was that was one of the things that that's one of the things that we were consistent with. When she started going on those tangents, we was like, nope, don't want to hear it. So if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
I want to give you a funny example. She would call my aunt and tell on me because I wouldn't let her eat what she wanted. And she lied and said I was starving her. Can you call up to the local, the South Carolina, lived in New York. She wanted my aunt to call South Carolina's Subway to order her a sandwich. Wouldn't let her get. I wouldn't let her go. She used to have her attendant take her to the bank and withdraw all her money, and then she'd spend all her money up, and then
Mhm.
wouldn't have it, and spend up in the first 3 days and wouldn't have it. So my brother used to put money in her account, and when she found out he put money in her account, she always wanted to spend, spend, spend. So I had to control that situation. She didn't like that, and she would just get her attendants to buy her stuff that she wasn't supposed to. So I fired the attendants. I put her in a nursing home to where she actually had to have someone else control her money, but she was some way and somehow she would get the attendants there to buy her stuff that she wasn't supposed to have. But she would tell on me because I would get them terminated because I told them not to do it. And so I got them terminated and they would get mad at me and she would get mad at me. But that's all because she was eating the wrong stuff and always having them lose her room because she had to go into the hospital because she ate stuff she wasn't supposed to. This is the things that we had to go through
And don't
when
forget
as
smoking
you
with the
know,
oxygen
she wanted
machine.
things her way. She would literally call New York to order her a sandwich in South Carolina. Go figure.
Who does that? But enough about enough about our
Margaret.
enough about our mother. But like I said, we laugh about it because we know we know how it was, and it's not, no disrespect. Y'all should know we did love our mother. We loved our father. We love all our siblings and most of our cousins. Them kids, I don't know. I don't know. But the thing is that you have to be careful in how you treat folks because yeah, they don't have nobody has to take care of you, but you shouldn't make it easier for them not to want to do it. That's the big thing. You want them to be, you want them to be able to do that. Now we've heard stories about mothers and fathers who treated their children like trash. The child grows up to be something, and then the parent comes back be wanting to get in their life so they can live off the benefit off of the fruits of their child's labor who they treated like a wet food stamp. And you have to look at it from a perspective that you know she's not perfect, he's not perfect, I'm not perfect, but we have to continue going back and forth to get to our level to where we're at peace, because there's nothing more important in family dynamics than peace. If Go ahead,
A
go
lot
ahead.
of celebrity, single parent celebrities, that happens to them a lot. They were raised by one parent and they blew up. They take care of that one parent that took care of them, but the parent that has not been in their lives, the majority of their lives or in and out of their lives, those parent comes back and, like you said, want them and expect for them to take care of them financially, and but still don't want to do what they supposed to do as a parent, even when a lot of times they do turn around and still help, and they still don't want to do right by them. So yeah, it's a matter of appreciating your situation and the gratitude that you give, because if I can appreciate my situation, but I'm still in that person's life, even though I may not be financially stable or may not be medically able to assist in the growth of that child when I get older, because I still appreciate it and I was still in that person's life in some type of way, they still might be able to take care of me, not necessarily financially. I'm really talking medically. You know,
Right.
you always need someone to be there to take care of you medically. I said earlier that I don't think that my children will physically assist me medically if I get to that point. I just know that my siblings, if I outlive them, if I, we all still same way, they will help more versus my children that I gave birth to, because I'm saying that because of what I've gone through so far when I got sick and I needed someone to be there for me and they weren't. So I feel that later on they're not. But I always tell, and I tell Dabs, this is, they're going to need me before I need them, you know, in so many different ways. They're going to need me. And they have. They needed me before I needed them. My son came to visit for Mother's Day, and he hadn't come visit me since I had my surgeries. So before I had my surgery, he came to visit me, but I haven't seen him since they're here in Florida. However, when he came, I felt the guilt of him not being here when he needed me. So it seemed like he wanted to just keep buying me stuff. And I kept telling him, no, I don't need that. No, oh no, I don't want that. No, it's good. I'm cool. I even took him to the facility where and I are going to get married. And I was telling him that this is the place. And he was ready to pay for the place. Even though it wasn't time to pay, it was too early to pay, but I still
Right.
wanted to show them. And then I'm just saying, I just felt that guilt right there. So I think financially they may be there for me, but medically or physically they won't.
I can understand. I can definitely understand that. I could definitely understand that. So that's, everybody's family. So every family is different, and your kids, your cousins, your parents, aunts and uncles, grandparents, they all had their challenges during that life, and
I know if he would, because of the way we raised him. He's very family oriented. If you tell him that this is a cousin, he's going to believe you, and he's going to you're going to see him forever. Then, like, that's how my son is. So in that aspect, I believe it'll be more physical. Like, he'll be here present, and he will take care of me, because that's he has that caretaker mentality or a presence about him. So yeah, I felt that way about my son. Yeah, that
yeah.
oldest one, no, he kept on spraying me with Lysol when I got COVID, and he left me for dead for 3 days. So I don't know. I don't know.
That
Yeah, every
sounds.
time I came out my room to go to the bathroom and he see me, he was spraying me with Lysol, and I'm like, there's a whole nother floor that you don't even have to come up here. Yeah. Like, why you almost like, and then you're not feeding me. So yeah, that was him.
Well, you
But
hardly ever eat anyway, so what? Why would he? Why would he feed you?
if I was
You might turn
hungry,
into a gremlin or
and
something.
listen, if I needed something, and at this time I was only basically eating once a day. But and if a person like that say they're hungry, you should feed them. Like, if I'm one of those, if I cook, I can't eat. So I'll cook a whole meal and just sit there like do enjoy. And then they be like, you're not eating, I'm not hungry. And I won't eat till the next day. So if I that's just how I feel. I'm not even gonna go into it. That's if A person, a person has a bad appetite or something, um, like I did, because cigarettes and cigarettes and caffeine took my appetite. And so I was barely eating to where people thought I had like anorexic. I was anorexic or something, which I wasn't. I was just not, I was lazy and didn't want to chew. So, yeah. So when a person like me say I'm hungry, I need to eat and I should be fed, even if it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you should give me something.
Don't tell nobody
I
that no more.
got you.
What?
Don't tell
A peanut
nobody
butter?
no more. But you just been too lazy to chew.
Yeah, yeah. Coffee was my life for quite a few years. So
Yeah,
yeah.
coffee and cigarettes. That's a German breakfast. Um, oh, back to the subject. Miss Kim, does anybody in your family use their children as a come up?
Say that again.
Does anybody in your family, your siblings, maybe your nieces and nephews, do anybody use their parent as a come up?
Mm, no. Mm-mm. No.
Did any of your siblings use your parents as a come up?
Yes. Yes. Mainly, I can say my brothers. Yeah, because my dad owned his own business, and they worked for daddy, so they felt like they were privileged because they didn't have to punch a clock or anything. So even though they were working for dad, because he was a plumber and electrician. So even though he was paying them a salary, they felt like he still was supposed to continue to do for him. One of my brothers even had my dad paying his child support. And I'm like, what? So yeah, my dad spoiled the boys. The girls work. So yeah.
How about you, Miss Summer?
Oh boy. Not that I know of offhand.
Dabs?
What was that?
How do you anybody in your family treated their children or their children treated them like a come up?
Um, no, not my family. I don't think anybody has. My mom, my sister, we pretty much, well, when I was still back at home, um, we were all over at taking care of my mom and dad. They were both doing pretty bad before I left. And they weren't, my mom and dad weren't doing really bad when I left. My dad was doing worse, but so we kind of were always there, because they still lived in the house. So me and my sister, somebody was at the house. Most of us were in town. And then, so yeah, I think it's just, we did what we needed to do, to take care of our parents. Then I left out of town. My brother left out of town. My sister, she was pretty much done. Had another brother there. He had a couple strokes, so he really couldn't do much. But my sister pretty much took care of my parents, most of the time. She was there pretty much day and night all the time. So,
Did she ever
um,
get resentful?
no, she didn't. I believe she didn't. And then, we talked. They tried to talk about me coming back to Washington. And I was like, no, no, thank you. But she took care of them until my mom passed or my dad passed, and then I went back to the funeral. And then 2 months later, mom passed. So, it was,
Mm,
it was hard. She took it a little hard, probably because she was there taking care of them, probably a little bit harder than the rest of us. But
definitely.
we all did what we could to make it happen.
That's understandable. Miss Summer?
I was just thinking that I was watching this episode of Inside the NFL, and I can't remember which team they were covering, but they had a bunch of these rookies and these young men in there, and they were being trained on like how to manage their money, and that you're going to have family members that you haven't seen in years come from the shadows, and you're going to have people that want to be your friend. You don't know what their true intentions are and all of this stuff. So they advise these young men to have kind of like advisors, if you will, or financial advisors, so that they won't fall prey to people trying to come up on their dime. And I just found that interesting. I just, some people, we don't all get that sometimes, I don't think, but I just thought that that was interesting on that episode of Inside the NFL.
No, and that happens because they always want to. Most athletes they don't want to see their parents living in poverty. So a lot of them grind and hustle and do their thing so I can get. They say their thing is so I can get my mama a house. And here's the rub. It's not the fact that they
A
want to
house,
do it.
not a mansion. A house
Yeah,
consists of 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a kitchen and a basement. That don't mean 5 bedrooms that you can't afford to furnish or afford the mortgage for. So that's where they go wrong. You go modest. A lot of the times, people, especially older people, don't want the big old property because we don't want to clean it.
yep. And one of Chocolate Pearl's classmates wind up playing in the NBA. He lived in a town called Hopkins, South Carolina, and he was building his mother a mansion. He got kicked out the league for drugs, and that man it's probably still not. Is that mansion still standing? Chocolate Pearl, Stanley Roberts, or that shell of a
Yeah,
mansion?
he's still. I think he's where is he? I know he's not back in South Carolina though. But yeah, I'm actually still Facebook friends with him. Yeah, but he's still standing.
Yeah, he was building like a 15 because he wanted to put his whole family up in there, and he ran out of money. If he had just got them a house, she'd have been all. I think she'd have been all right, and I think that's what she was cool. But he wanted to do so much. He overpromised and underdelivered, and yeah, I want to put my kids in that house. I want to make sure that they straight, but I can't break me doing it. And if my parents were still alive, I probably get them something like a condo or something where because your mother wasn't going to go out there and cut no grass.
Yeah, no, can I say something? I had this conversation with my boys, because I was really upset only one person won that. I was like, for months I was upset only one person won that $1 billion. And I was like, it's not fair to the world. But I we had a conversation and it was like, if I won a substantial amount of money, what would the first thing you do? What would you ask me for? My oldest, being, a 20-something-year-old, and he's ready to party and live life. He's like, I want a Lambo truck. And I was like, that's a death machine. Why would I put you into a death machine? You could get you a mid-size Lexus, or, something that you could actually learn how to drive properly and be more responsible for. I wouldn't give you a super duper sports car. And I was like, that's just not, I was like, so you want me to be broke within 5 years, And then my youngest son, he was like, I just need a 2 bedroom house on 10 acres of land. I was like, that's more like it. Okay. Like, I was like, at least he's thinking,
Was he going to open a homeless encampment on those 10 acres like he
probably,
can farm?
no one want to mind. We like to take care of people, but probably, but me myself, I've been telling y'all this for years. I wanted to do one of those like Bootsy did, do a big piece of land and start putting homes for my family on it. We ain't gotta live in the same compound. We could have separate homes
Same thing.
just on the same
Golden
on the
Lane. That's what it's gonna
yeah,
be. Golden Lane.
yes. Yes. Like, come on. I was like, everybody have streets. We'll have paved roads to each other's houses. Nobody backyard connected. And if you don't want to see me, you ain't gotta see me. Like, but we're still family. And when like once a week, Sunday, we could have a in the main house, have a big family dinner. That's all I was asking. But people are like, I don't want to live with y'all. I don't want to do
Hey,
this.
and have white people serving us, right?
No, I don't know. I don't care what color you are. I'm in
Like,
service, so that
no.
never.
Mm-mm.
And then I don't know if they don't like using soap, so I don't know. Or rags. So I don't know. I couldn't do that. I need a excuse me if this might sound racist, but I need me a nice Asian or a Hispanic person, or a good old, a good old Caribbean person that actually, old school Jamaican lady that's going to clean my house, and I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna smell bleach and nothing but bleach. But that was the goal, because I watched way too much TV and seeing all these people being killed by so-called investors and family members over a lottery ticket that y'all don't know. Half them, once they got that lottery ticket, they was like, if I die, something happened to me, it's going to charity. None of y'all gonna get it.
Yeah, that's a Miss Summer, you had your hand up. Oh,
No,
she
I
put
was
it
just,
down.
you were talking about, excuse me, y'all were talking about, sorry, serve and getting served and stuff like that. I just wanted to throw in, what did you guys think? And I'm off the topic, but I'm gonna try to bring it back. But what did y'all think about that plantation uh, on fire? The building. I'm
Well,
sorry.
our ancestors, I think our ancestors were pleased. It makes you think, hey, say as long as you don't do us right, ain't nothing good happening to it. I look, property is property, but the way they cleaned it up and didn't want to talk about what actually happened there is a shame, and that's all I'll leave it at.
What's
But
the name of this? What's the name of this plantation? So
Nottaway
when we get off here,
Plantation,
not away.
Nottaway, NOTT away.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up once I'm gonna look it up on YouTube once we get off of the show, so I could see, I could understand, because I'm like,
Yeah,
what
and
plantation?
and
Where?
it was the big house was completely burnt. It wasn't burned. It was burnt. It was burnt. It was burnt to the ground.
If you see the memes that's going on about that thing, it's just crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But here was my and that goes into the question. I'm glad you said that, Bean. That's a good topic. If you won the lottery, how would you split it with your family? I'm going to go first. Here's what I do. First, I wouldn't tell nobody, but you would know. And I say, everybody give me a copy of your bills. And for 1 year, I'd pay everybody's bills. That way, you ain't got no excuse. I ain't got no money. Your bill's already paid. That gives you a chance to build up your own money and do your own thing. And it'll save me money because then you don't need to, ain't you had money yourself? And that's what I think. A year of paying all my close relatives' bills. Not not my fifth cousin out there in Horners Corners, Nebraska, but my people. My people I would do that for. What about you, Miss Kim?
Ooh, sorry, y'all. I had a long day today. Um, if I won the lottery, how would
Yes.
I split it? With my first and foremost, before I split it, I'm gonna pay up my tithes at my church. Second, I'm gonna put like enough money back for my daughters. Then my siblings will come next. Some, it's nine of us. Some people I probably would have to do like you and just pay their bills because I know they wouldn't do the right thing with it. And and the others, I'll just write my check. And I will have to get a contract. You can't come back. This is it. You got to sign this contract. I gave you this, and you can't come back to me for nothing else.
So So you paying them to go away. That's pretty much what
basically.
it is.
And also, we have back home 33 acres of land. So I'll go ahead and the ones that have not deeded out the land in their name, I'll probably go ahead and do that for them that hadn't did it. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Miss Summer?
DFG, I would do like you and wouldn't tell anybody. But I would probably, one thing that I always wanted to do was buy some land. And in certain parts, depending on where the land is, no flood zones. I would get like these big, huge barn type of built facilities built where I would rent them out for weddings and special occasions. And I would keep that in the family and I would just have that, so something that the family can just take over, something that just would pay itself off fairly quickly. And then if, later on the line, if the family decides to sell it, that would be their choice. But I would just get us established first and then just keep everything going. So that's what I would do.
Okay, okay. DJ Dabs?
Well, let's see here. Well, like I like you, I told my kids one thing I would do for them. The first thing I do is I pay their stuff for a year. They'd be set. They won't have to worry about no payments. Um, I am an entrepreneur and a businessman, so first thing I'm buying is some businesses. I don't know how many. There's enough. There's enough I get with my with okay, of course I see Chocolate Pearl keep looking over here at me, so I gotta make sure I take care of her too, So but yeah, business. I'm in the business, so I'm thinking, and we've actually talked about this, but like buying a whole shopping center with different stuff in it. And if the business ain't there, we'll put it in there or certain stuff. Sort of like her, since I'm a DJ, I always wanted me a wedding site, wedding place, a wedding venue. Not only could be for weddings, it could be for different kind of events that everything will be all set up and ready to go for people. They could walk right in and everything will be done. And stores along the side, different clothing stores. It just be like a big shopping center with everything in there and all the events and all the places I own. Kind of like what Joanne and Chip Gaines did down in Texas.
Oh, that's that's interesting. Miss
Yeah.
Drain, you? How would you spend your money
Hello?
if you won a lottery?
That one. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Um, okay, so that's hard because luckily the good part about it is I don't have such a huge family per se. I feel like it is huge, but it's not huge. So I don't know, I would probably just make sure my children are taken care of and my sister and my nephews and of course my parents. And then other than that, I would probably spread it around to my extended family. Because I mean, especially depending on how much it is, because I don't foresee me, other than wanting to travel and see the world, at this age in the game, I don't know if I want to start any businesses like Dabs or take on that type of venture. But I could just comfortably be happy and make sure those around me are pretty much taken care of.
Okay, okay. And I think I got everybody with that. That's an interesting question. And you know, oh, Miss Summer said,
No, you didn't ask Pearl. You didn't
who?
ask Pearl. You didn't ask Chocolate
I know what
Pearl.
Chocolate Pearl gonna do.
And you didn't ask me.
Well, you already said what you was gonna do. So why would I
That
ask
was with
you?
my kids. That was with my kids.
You already
Okay.
said what you was gonna do.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago when that $1 billion came out. We ain't had a $1 billion jackpot since. So now, if I won anything like $50 million, y'all probably wouldn't see me for a while. But I would like literally go and And like, I want to go travel in the world with my son, because I've never actually been on any type of type of vacation with my children. So I want to go and travel with my son and my grandkids. That will be the like the bucket list on top of bucket list if I want something like that. But because like I said, I watch a lot of TV. I know I will try to find one or two of the best investments that I can, so I could grow my money, because I do have a what's it? He's not disabled. He's
Special
handicapped.
needs.
He's special needs, and he will, once he gets older enough, I want to be able to, him to be able to have whatever he needs, and then my granddaughter, she's not right at one. So I know I'm gonna have to have bail money for her. Like,
She's
you
such a
know,
cutie.
she's a cutie, and that's the ones that you gotta watch out for. It's the pretty ones you gotta watch out for. But yeah, so I will need to know that I'll have at least 3 times the bail money for my granddaughter. So
I got
yeah,
you.
and she's one. That's
Hey, don't say that no more. Don't say that no more. Don't say that no
I
more.
gotta get a laugh.
Go ahead, Pearl.
Okay, quick. A lot of everybody has said that's what I would have done. Like Dab said, we have discussed this before, and one of us is to help I wouldn't give them money for the ones who do not have siblings who do not have their own home or own their own home. I would buy them a home. And then for the ones who do own a home, and they still owe on it, I will go ahead and pay that out. Same thing with my children. I would just buy them a home, something that they can invest with, or, you know, they'll have something to pass on. Um, but for me, I would actually do like Dad said. I would buy a whole strip mall and turn each one of those stores or into something. But I do want like he said, a wedding venue, or what is it called? A event
Event center.
venue.
Yeah.
Yeah, event venue where everything is there from, you can buy all the supplies you need. You can also get a caterer, a DJ, decorator, all that, all one stop shop type situation where you can get married as well as have your reception and parties and all that other good stuff. I've always said that for the past 20, 30 years, that I've always stated that if I ever decided to play the lottery and actually won, that's what I would have done. But
Okay.
I also would put my relatives, like my cousins and stuff, to work. I'm not going to give them any money, but I was going to make opportunities for them to work, because nothing in life is for free, and my money ain't coming free.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. And that's the thing, is that money doesn't make you a better person. It just reveals what's in you. Because, the most honest version of yourself is when you're broke. If you really think about it, the most honest version of you is when you ain't got no money, can't
Exactly.
see no money. That means you know everything's gonna be real. Now you can lie to some people, but
I'm really
you
gonna
can't lie to
be
yourself.
honest right now.
What he say?
Really, 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 really honest right now. That
Hey,
means he's really, 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 really broke.
yeah, yeah. Because sometimes you can't, sometimes you try to, Miss Summer Hood Rich is a little different, because in the hood, the hood has a dress code, and um, the more money you have, the less you tend to show it off. So when you see people, they riding around in a Tesla. They sporting how do you spell Louboutin, Louboutin, the shoes, you know what I'm talking about?
No, because I don't have that stuff.
Louis
I'm not a
Vuitton.
label
No,
holder.
not Louis Vuitton. It's Labottin.
I don't know how
Too
to
rich for
say.
my blood. Can't even
It's
pronounce
like
it.
it's a yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's Labutin, something like that. It's real. It's French for real expensive. Real effing expensive.
Oh,
Okay,
geez.
you know,
Mm-mm.
and they got a Hermes bag, a Hermes belt.
I seriously think that even if I did become wealthy, I still would shop on the clearance rack.
Oh
Because
yeah.
my aunt, Pamela Brackett, love her to
Me
death,
too.
has told us spend a little, save a lot.
Hmm.
And I live by that.
And that was a woman who worked 3 jobs all the time. She worked more than the
That's
Headley.
right. That's right.
I'm dating myself. Y'all remember in Living Color, the Headleys. So
Oh,
how many
yeah.
jobs them got?
How many jobs you got, man? You got 10 jobs, man. You don't have
You
enough,
only got
man.
10 jobs. You're lazy.
You lazy goat.
I work in my sleep. Look.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you didn't save your money, believe it or not, that's how a lot of rich people stay rich.
Oh yeah, and
They
they
get
spend other
stuff for
people's
free.
money.
They get
Oh yeah,
stuff for free. They don't spend much. And they
and
and
that
they don't dress as expensive as we think they
And they
do.
recycle. They go and they take all their aluminum and cans and plastic and wine bottles to the recycling center and get their coin back for whatever container they was using. I've
well,
seen it. I've worked at recycling centers and I've seen people come in there with Bentleys and they have a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, I need my money.
and
That's what
that's
they
the
do.
thing is that the poorer you are, the more it costs. Let
Yeah.
me let me explain that. The poorer you are, the more you got to spend because where are the good grocery stores? They ain't in the
Good
hood.
neighborhoods.
Said, where are the places? Where are the cheap clothes places? They ain't in the hood. Um,
Can I say something about the grocery stores? I've learned because I am a poor. To go to the where will you think there's the international markets like the Korean store or the East Asian stores where you could get the fresh produce and the fresh things that they eat without having to go to the freezer aisle. Like what I say, where I live is completely food desert. So I have to go to the little halal stores where they get their groceries and their meats and stuff like that. I go to there because I know I'll get more for my money than I would go to a big grocery chain. Like
oh yeah,
like
oh
so
yeah.
that's how I get around a lot of this stuff, especially now that I live by myself. I'm like, I don't know how to cook for one person. So I have
I,
to learn.
Learn.
It's very hard.
it's
You
not as
trust
hard
me,
as you
you'll learn.
think. Meal meal prep. You start meal
That's
prepping,
right.
and
Yeah,
Freezer
that's
is
right.
your friend.
So you
No,
still
no,
make it.
it's not that. It's me still. I still feel like I have two grown men in my house, children that so I still buy in bulk. And I'm like, this food is going to go bad in my house because I don't cook. I eat at work. So when I come home, I'm not hungry. And on my days off, Uber Eats is my friend.
yeah, and that's the thing is that if you don't have a car and you live in a food desert, you're going to be paying more, and everybody looks at certain denominations and
Got a
think
meal prep.
certain ways.
Mhm.
Meal
To
prep.
us,
Mhm.
$100 bill's a lot. To somebody who makes millions of dollars, $100 bill's like a dime. Yeah,
Mhm.
you don't want to lose it, but if you lost it, it ain't gonna be nothing. So it's all in perspective, and like I said, it costs a lot to be poor. But we have come to the end of another show. I had a good time. I was excited about this. We got good dialogue. We had, everybody was there, and we're gonna cut it. But before we go, we got to talk to my fellow co-host. Go on, Bean. Give me some.
All right. Again, thank y'all for coming here. I'm glad I made it on this week, and thank y'all. Y'all put smiles on my face because I really needed it. This last week has been very challenging, and yeah, like, subscribe, and follow, and yeah, have a good night, all.
That's what's up. Chocolate Pearl, my favorite girl.
I just want to thank everybody for showing up, for whoever was able to join. All the comments was great. The show was a good topic. It, like Beanie said, it made me smile because it got me to thinking about my mother, because the anniversary of her death is coming up in a couple of days. And so it kind of felt good to talk about her in this journey of social media. But I want to thank everybody for joining us, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and see you back on Tuesday at 8:30 next week.
And I want to thank everybody out there, Miss Dream, Miss Kim, Miss Summer, DJ Dabs, Miss Nikki over on YouTube. Um, Next week we're going to talk about the diddler and that trial. So y'all watch a little bit of that and watch some. But one of the
No,
things,
thank you.
or at least catch the highlights, because there's
No,
some
thank no Diddy.
No, no, no.
there's some
Not wasting my
there's
time.
some
Said no.
real.
No,
He
not
said
wasting my
no.
time.
Yeah, there's some real
It's
messy
too
stuff going
much.
on there.
It's like,
I don't want to give him any time.
yeah.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
At
care what he
all.
did. I don't want to deal with it. They
Let's,
allowed it to go too long. I don't want to have to deal with it. But I will be here to listen. But I
yeah.
don't think I'll participate because I'm not going to watch it.
Okay. All right. That's understandable. That's understandable. Now, I don't have a final thing to close, but I am going to say I want to appreciate the people. Without y'all, we would not have this show. And remember, you're not a panel member, you're family. And if you can't laugh at yourself, find somebody else to laugh at. Y'all have a good one. This is DFG signing out.